Okay, so good evening, everyone. Welcome again. Today is the 4th of October, 2022, and welcome
Yes,
to our
yes.
show, The Intro, with yours truly and Kenneth.
All
Ken,
right. Good,
how
good,
things
good,
this
good, good
evening?
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to all the viewers, listeners. Welcome to another edition of the intro. And we will introducing you and intro, to many different topics as we move along.
Yeah. So, well, this is the month of October, the start of the financial year. Last week we had a discussion about
The budget.
the budget and so on. Some kind of debate going on. I don't know if it's good, bad, or indifferent, but some debate going on in the parliament these days. Anything that pass the budget yet, okay?
No, the other debate first, and then go to joint select committee where they go ask question. It's a process. So then this, and then have to go to the Senate and all that. So that's how.
Okay. So I'm going to share the link in
Right.
to the viewers who enjoy me yet. I'm going to share a copy it here. Right, good. So this week we talking touch tourism. That is the topic for this week. But before we get into tourism, I don't know if we should really get into it, but as mentioned, in this month, the month of October, we celebrate two significant days in our community of persons who are blind and visually impaired. So the 13th of October is World Sight Day, and then the 15th of October is White Cane Safety Day, right, Ken?
Yeah.
So
Larry, the amazing thing about it, one day is dealing with blindness prevention, and the other day is dealing with when you get blind.
one is the private, right?
And it's an unusual thing that the other day is dealing with when you get blind. You know what I mean? So one is before, one is after.
Boy, at the end of the day, they just celebrated, and strange enough, both of them celebrated in October.
Right, but so you could keep talking. I just want to open my gate here. So, right?
Yeah. A new type of remote, sir. What? In the game. I have a neighbor the other day driving in the vehicle, and I say, I want to call him my name, right? So I said, boss, I have to come out and slide a gate for you. He said, nah. He said, you want to see my remote as well? You know, your man pop you on twice.
Yeah.
And the gate open. I said,
Yeah.
that is remote partner.
Who said that?
No, I have a neighbor. I don't call no name and thing.
Yeah. Remember when you
going on the road and
trouble,
thing.
yeah.
So when you was coming back home, I said, so yeah, I had to jump out and slide that gate off. Yeah, no, you will see how my remote does work.
Yeah.
And he popped the horn there. And I mean, we barely had to slow down. We just slowed down and he started driving the yard, because the gate, that is remote, so yeah, I had to get a remote like that. But I know if because when I come out, I throw my old talk and thing too, so I don't know if that remote still working.
Yeah, but you never see remote work when he had to come out the gate.
What do you mean?
There is a rush for him to go in the gate, and about to come out the gate might have some problem.
Well, possible too. It's possible. All that possible. But
you know what I mean?
It have some kind of different remote yes, what now? Let me leave it so.
All kind of thing are coming out there now.
Yeah. What the hell? Like there's a remote that open once and close twice, or what's going on there? So my neighbor now, the man, he have it best. I like that kind of motto he have. It working for him. So Kenneth was making a point before he even exercises his remote control about World Sight Day being preventative blindness and White Cane Safety, they deal with persons that blind. So it's kind of a opposite of the same
One
coin.
canceling out the other, or one adding to the other.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Right.
So
So we could say we inviting people to our event, but it's an event we attending on the 16th of October.
but next, you can do it next week too. But I just put you on notice on the 16th of October, we having a walk for Woolside there around the Savannah. So you registering from about 6 a.m. Start the
Yeah.
walk at 7, and we have some activities there. Come down, there's some prizes to give away. You know, we might have like for the different categories, who reach first, who reach last. So, you know,
Yeah.
you might have a last place.
That I might get that one who never reach, you know.
You know, but you might get one who never leave.
Right.
Yeah, never who didn't reach.
You're right, you know it. Yeah.
Hey, look, Mr. Rupram, very good evening.
That's
sir,
the
good
man,
evening.
man. That's the man.
I'm waiting for the Lloyd's jersey and
I
to
myself,
sample a cup
Lloyd-
of chana.
I was promised a Lloyd's mask. I didn't get out. I'm waiting for the jersey too.
Good night, Miss Sylvan, Kimberly Sylvan. Good night, everybody. Please share the live, enjoy it.
Yeah,
What I'm
yes,
saying,
yes,
Ken,
yeah.
is Diwali and thing coming up now, boy, and fasting time is the real time to promote this,
Right.
you know. So I don't know if things would, you know, reflect accordingly.
Yes.
And-
By,
Good
I
evening,
hope,
Mr.
yes.
Rupram again. And the thing is, it could be a means to promote tourism too. You know, the topic this evening is touch tourism.
Right.
So we could be touching each other, and you all could be watching us as the tourism aspect, you know.
Right.
In the well packaged and labeled packaging is the word.
But whatever you know, if I get a t-shirt and a nice, I mean,
I'm talking about the doubles hole, yeah.
or the doubles part, all right. Yes,
No,
oh,
no.
yes, you know. He,
Nah,
the
nah.
only man had doubles with knife and fork, you know. You ever see that with plastic knife and fork?
No, but what I'm saying, the man package and thing real up to max hole, yeah. You can have free ad right now.
Is the only doubles is the knife and fork.
Yeah. He had a different experience.
Yes, I kind of upper class doubles partner.
Yeah,
Trying to balance that chana on that knife and fork is like eating with a chopstick. You know?
You go bring that man cause.
He always cussing. But I know
Oh.
he fasting right now.
No, you fasting boy. You man don't cuss when you fasting boy.
No, he's a serious man.
Yeah. So Ken, I see on the papers today while I was looking through the papers before I come to the show. I see they want to use TCL cement to pave roads, but only secondary and tertiary roads. So which one is primary roads?
We got like a school.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out which one is primary.
Yeah. Primary is where they cut the bullshit like truck and ball.
That is primary roads.
Yeah, like when you walk with truck and like truck.
And secondary road would be what?
And that off road and off on road and but when I hear what I can say about this thing,
no, that might be ECC.
It could be yeah. But I tell you, I hear that off on road and thing, but I say what the hell is this like? This country crazy.
Bastard road and thing.
Yeah. You know, I just tell people, you have this country, even they divided up, like say, take at Tobago for example. You can take all the regional corporation, you know, inside each regional corporation, you link schools to that regional, you link police to that, you link fire service to that. So each regional corporation will have their own, we call it self-contained kind of system then. You have your RH inside it, your health, whatever you would have, but it'll be linked to that regional corporation and so on.
Ms. Das, good night. What you have at ECC primary to secondary or tertiary road? What you have by you?
No, it has some roads unnamed too, you know. You know, like when they name it, you know. You know, like when you go to your people don't give a that.
Can you real break it up, boy? I don't know. Like you should buy some internet and stop using the neighbor one.
No, but yeah, good. But you know, near the road, so I don't know. Yeah, but what I'm saying, we have some forget what I just said, you know.
Talk about the road, boy.
Yeah, well, the road, but something I say about the road just now.
And the regional corporation, and you're making a point about.
No, Yeah, well, I passed all of that, but
Oh,
there's some unnamed. Yo, no, so there was just some road have no name. Like I had a partner, his name was something Dash. He vexed with him what I say, they forget to put the title in the good paper. So his name is Dash.
for
So
sure.
it has some road without a name. No, it is a Dash. Why we drinking and a man, he's had to kind of cry like why he mother them didn't put the name and like they didn't care for him and thing. So they call him Dash.
Dash.
Yeah, you only had one name and a Dash.
Don't afraid to ask what area you from, partner.
Viparo.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
Unless Miss Dash respond to me. Let me see.
You know.
She said hello, hello, good night.
Which like RTST can answer you?
Me, sure. That's some kind of answer. So you think this cement, they say they will cut down on foreign exchange. I thought we have
No,
bitumen plant and thing in Trinidad. We just use
No,
our
you-
products to
you-
pave and thing. They say
you
they
remember
import
when-
that.
remember when Petrotrin closed down? That was a byproduct of oil. You know?
The bitumen.
Yeah, so you no longer have that. So for them to say some bright idea, they're using that because they have nothing else to use. Because bitumen, I mean, I stand to be corrected, is a byproduct of oil. Ropram, who's a more kind of man, oil man, he might know. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like a like the fella who sing the song.
Yeah, he's Crunter, the oil in the coil. No, he had the oil in the coil.
Yeah. No, the man who sing, he tell the girl he is walking oil, and when she pull up by DB roundabout, he was frying doubles and selling, you know.
Yeah.
I forget the man name, man. Yeah.
You want to say he walking in the oil? All right. Well, because
No, you say that. Is you who know tell me that.
Oh, I say that. Oh.
You know, say the man is a oil man, the man over oil.
Oh, yeah. But you say he frying double.
Yeah, but this thing recorded, you know, Ken, we could go back to the recording, you know.
Oh, you have evidence. All right.
We have evidence, you know. I think you get quieter that one, like you realize it's getting recorded now.
No, my door come in here than me here.
Oh, all right. So they're talking about the paving of the road and using concrete to do the infrastructure of the road, and they say it will be more stable and long lasting and so on. And they will be using TCL cement to do it. And I'm telling myself, but this in my mind, she said internet bad repeat question, but what the hell is this? Anyhow, I remember some years ago, I was coming back from a boat cruise. This had to be somewhere in 2000 and probably 12 or 13 or somewhere there. And traffic jam about 1 o'clock in the morning on the highway. And when we was passing, there was mixing concrete and paving the highway.
Right.
That was around the Warren area there coming up.
So they did concreting long time?
So, I mean, I know they was using it then. I don't know if they had stopped but they were using concrete there. They was mixing concrete and there and putting it on the roadway in the night. So when I hear them talk about it, I say, okay, well, I thought they was always using it. I didn't realize it had stopped, so it wasn't the case.
But like in the States, they use a different kind of concrete. Their concrete really don't have BRC and you know, I don't think so.
Well, I think it has something with the concrete that something called some fiber, like fiberglass in the concrete or something that effect is a material in the concrete.
Yeah.
So it
right.
It helps with the strength in the concrete basically. We have the Trinidad, you know, Ken. Don't for you to have it, you know. We have it. It's very expensive though.
But right, that's the whole point.
You can put in driveways and things.
Right.
You know, we have it. So that is the issue with the concrete and the road. I mean, the reason I raise it about the road because our conversation is about touch tourism. Right. And before we go to touch tourism, first we talk about tourism. And there's all different kind of tourism, Ken.
No, but let me take first start with the sense. People believe tourism is what you see, you know. But sometimes you could go and enjoy food and enjoy other people's culture.
Well, this is what I was getting to. What is tourism?
Yeah.
You know, tourism is really the showcasing of something unique and different in your country versus the rest of the world where you want
or to satisfy the senses or introduce the senses to new things.
Yeah.
Which could be visual, sight, sound, taste, touch. You know what I mean?
But I wanted to be clear about the touch tourism because there's some people
Yeah.
who listen to this live might feel touch tourism is about blind man touching people, you know, and that could be a wrong perception.
Right.
So we have different types of tourism or different categories you could classify tourism in, and we have food tourism, medical tourism,
Okay, yeah.
ecotourism,
Mhm.
what environmental, probably that'll fall under eco.
Mhm.
You might have wildlife tourism,
Mhm.
you know, or
To
we
some
have what we
extent, you can
call,
have religious tourism where people come to our country,
right,
you know, for many reasons.
and you might find that mostly like in countries like India and things where they have old shrines and or temples, as the case may be, and people go
Right.
to see it and things like that, right? So there is a concept called touch
Mhm.
tourism. And as I said before, it's not about blind man touching a woman or touching anybody. It's about it is related to the person who is blind because we use the sense of touch to identify things. And it's all about the person who is blind going to different parts of the world and identifying with what the sighted person is seeing, what the sighted person is enjoying, created accessible enough for the person who is blind to come and identify with it as well.
I mean, people could go and visit this website called traveleyes.com, and you'll have an idea. In this website is a travel agent who is blind might pay $100 for a ticket for trips. They pay less than the person who's blind. But the reason for that, when they go on trips also, the person who will see will work together with the person who is blind, give that level of accommodation and experience.
So you're kind of breaking up in between. So let me just recap
Yeah.
it quickly. What traveleyes.com is about is persons who are sighted and persons who are blind or visually impaired are basically paired together in going around the world to different tourist destinations and different tourist attractions and so on, right? And what happened is the person who is sighted normally pays less than the person who's blind because they act as basically the guide who will describe and explain everything while they go through the various trips and the various tourist sites. So as we say that, you know, sometimes there's people who looking for individuals who are interested in being the sighted person on these trips. They may have visually impaired person willing to go, and there's sighted people who willing to go with them. And if you go on traveleyes.com, I think is that organization that pays them off, or you have to get your own sighted person?
No, they're doing all of that. When you come, they sort of know all that. But it's not like you that babysitter for the person who's blind, you know.
No.
Just this, yeah.
It's just that when you're on the trip and you're going through, let's say you're going through some big savanna plain with the different animals feeding and grazing, or the sighted person will tell them
Right.
what he's
Like a
seeing out
safari.
there.
Yeah.
But it's not like if I can't find my jersey to put on, definitely nothing like that. Or if I go in my hotel room, I need to get somebody to show me. No, it's nothing like that. The person who's blind is independent and operates on their own. It's only when you're on your outdoor facility or outdoor trips, on case maybe they assist you with the description and what the
description, probably to
enjoyment of
touch
the
things, the
trip.
enjoyment, yeah. And in the long run, you build a level of friendship too with one another. So it's an awareness kind of program too. And
I remember
yeah.
when the Caribbean Council for the Blind can had their workshop, the Hyatt in Trinidad. This fella from Port-au-Prince, he came. He was a visually impaired fella.
I know him, Eddie.
Eddie. And the man said he traveled over the world. He have a French passport. He didn't know
Oh no, that one was Christian, I think.
Christian,
Yeah.
Christian said he going over the world. He asked me where he could get the boat to board to go Venezuela. We said, what are you talking about, Zolia?
Yeah.
He said, hey, mean I hear about boat you can board from Chaguanas to go Venezuela. I said, we don't know about that, nah?
And
Say
that
like
man
go
traveling all
Seagrass.
about just so meeting people, living by, staying by them. That man brave boy.
Yeah, he's a brave fella. You know,
And I think you're low vision. Huh?
is that?
Was he low vision? I try to remember.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Right.
he was low vision. So the point is, travelize.com or touch tourism is about the visually impaired enjoying tourism as well, and is about creating this country, and we're using Trinidad and Tobago, right, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
Making it accessible to the point, and if you want to know what is real accessibility, go and research Hong Kong.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Hong Kong is
they
one of
top
the
notch.
best
Yeah.
top countries in the world that talks about accessibility for the blind. That is a
Mhm.
place that we could talk or refer to when we talk about touch tourism. You go to the parks, you go to the museums, you go anywhere in Hong Kong, it's well laid out.
And then use that term, Larry, is talk
Touch
about
tourism.
universal design.
Mhm.
Universal design is where you may not be perfect, but inside your product, like washing machine or whatever you do, if you're building, you take into consideration persons with disability. You check
Mhm.
Trinidad, most of the fire alarm system, they only make noise. There's hardly any. I don't know if the
That
new ones have
creates
flashing
blinking
light now.
lights.
I don't know if the new ones have flashing light now. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But majority in the past, they never take into consideration the hearing impaired person.
Mhm.
So when I talk about universal design, and one of the best example is Apple product that Steve Jobs created. The hearing nowadays, the app there's hearing it called MFI, made for iPhone. You don't really have to buy an iPhone. You put on the headphone, and your phone becomes a hearing aid.
Okay.
So you know, and that is so amazing that Steve Jobs' vision. He was never, people say, I used to tell people Steve Jobs wanted to be the richest man in the world, but that was never his intention. He wanted to make a product that people will use and improve their lives then. He wanted to
Right.
impact on people. And I tell people, this is what we should be doing. Whatever you do, how do you impact on the community? Whatever you do, you're talking about the roads and all that. No matter what you do, how are we impacting on the community? And the same thing when we talk about tourism, how are we impacting on a group of persons? As I always say, is a group of persons that have low incident disability with high needs. But that doesn't mean we must leave them out, not because someone is a minority. You mustn't take care of them, because we measure civilization on the way we treat the minority, not how we treat the majority. Because it's very, very easy for the majority to abuse the minority. Very, very, very easy. Done.
But can I also say as well, if we prepare our society and our exactly everything you just said there, if we do all those things now, and God forbid somebody who's listening to this video, this program, goes blind in the morning, or goes hearing impaired, or goes physically challenged, and they know this country is prepared for persons with disabilities. This country has put in accessible ramps, they have put in accessible information, they have allowed signs to be accessible and reachable, and they know all this is being done. God forbid somebody goes disabled. They their rehabilitation going to be so much easier,
Yeah.
because they will know the society is prepared for them. There is accessibility to them. And
Larry, I can give you an example. The World Blind Union, let's have a conference every 4 years. And I mean, Trinidad, we are thinking about in 2029 to give it some consideration. And you're talking about 2,000 persons who are blind or more could be coming to Trinidad. If that happens, you can imagine how much plane tickets going to be sold, how much hotel room, food, accommodation. You just check that too, with guide dogs and so much. How that going to impact on this country called Trinidad and Tobago? If we have places where people go on a little trip, where we, where we can have miniature build or miniature of our important buildings, so they could know, look, this is an important building I could touch. We scale it down so they could feel it, so they could create the concept in their head. We're talking about QR codes, braille signs, proper lighting for the low vision person, tactile surfaces. There's so many things we could do. and how this could be a massive income earner for Trinidad and Tobago. It might probably cost us a certain amount of money to invest in it, but the returns, because a lot of people only talk about money, but they are also the returns with introducing people to our culture, and they're going to leave here talking about Trinidad wherever they go, because they talk about persons who are blind from the 5-6 continents coming to
I want to
Trinidad.
tell you something. I don't mean to belittle the point you're making about the 2,000
Yeah.
blind people there, but
Yeah.
some years ago, I was working in Santa Cruz and traveling on a bus, and we bounced up a traffic jam so earlier, which may take me about 3 hours from Shogunas to the Queasy.
Yeah.
Right? Traffic, eh? You know what was causing traffic? About 100 Chinese squat on the side of the highway in a straight line.
Yeah.
You can imagine 100 blind man walking on Rice Road?
This is the whole point. I remember 5 blind men, me and 4 other partners walking down in town. A man put on papers, you know what, 3 blind by his first time you see 5.
You see?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And there's only 5 people. The man put you on papers with big picture and thing.
So we could have got a picture this morning. I'm sure you walking down back Edward Street.
Exactly.
But that's showing you, we talking big conversation. We're talking big topics about 2,000 persons who blind in the country, moving around with white cane and dog and all kind of things. I talking about close to about 75 to 100 people squat on the side of the highway and cause a massive traffic pileup. This country will be in a kind of.
But we had to change our thinking as a country. We had to because everybody's only thinking from their point of view until it happened to them home.
Yeah.
You understand? People don't deal with blindness until it happened to somebody close by or happen to themselves. We saw it with a past executive officer who was very he did well in life. He probably was, top notch. He achieved all his goals, wherever. And when he got blind, and he actually said, I never saw them. I don't know them. I didn't see them.
Yeah. And is it true? It happens.
We have somebody else. They say if they didn't have a blind child, they might not be interested in blind welfare. We know that. We know of parents who say that. It's not that they've been offensive or in there. It's just the truth.
It's the truth. Why should they be?
Yeah, even if it impact them, it doesn't interest them.
They should be there because it should interest them because it affects a fellow human being.
Right.
Topic. Good night, everybody. Thank you for viewing. We have Joan Lazama, Miss Lal, Mr. Heeds, Indra, everybody. The topic should have been on the screen, Mark. Touch tourism. We're talking about tourism for the blind and visually impaired, and how it can be an income generator for foreign exchange. Because sometimes the point we were really making about touch tourism. Hey, Ms. Ramnarang, boy, good night. Yeah, the point we was making about income generation is people tend to believe because you're blind and visually impaired, your economic power is low. And you don't have economic. Yeah. But persons who are blind around the world, they move and shake a large quantity or a large value of economic influence.
I've been chatting with blind people in the States. What was the minimum does work for the year? 50,000 US minimum.
See, and when they travel, they spend.
Yeah.
They don't come for charity. They don't go out there looking for help. They go out there to enjoy life, enjoy the experience, and spend their money.
They want activities. The main thing they want to do.
Yeah, they want to experience things.
Yeah, they want to taste things.
Just before COVID, we hosted the North America, Caribbean region, the division of the World Blind Union, right, Ken?
The North American and Caribbean region.
Right. And we had a meeting here, and we had a representative from Canada, America, different parts of the Caribbean region, and we took them out down the islands.
And Larry, up till now, they still talk about is it Trinidad is in all the continent. Trinidad is they have them right up, maybe the top 3 or number 1. They like how we treat them, and that's something good about Trinidadian people. Like how we treat people.
Yeah, we like the line. You see, we know a good line.
Yeah. I mean, Trinidad, we take these things for granted, but when it's appreciated when you hear foreigners talk about how we treat them.
And we held a social event for them. There's the cocktails, mixed drinks,
Yeah.
and they're socializing. And when we told them they couldn't care what the price to go down the islands, they
No,
paid.
they pay, they never ask
They
you,
just
how much,
wanted
right?
whatever you provide, they pay for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the point I'm making is we tend to measure persons who are blind and visually impaired based on our local standard, what we see them as here.
And we believe that we always have to give them something, but they doesn't want to give to.
And they don't the touch tourism community is not about charity.
No,
It's not
it's a
about
business.
it is about they have their own wealth and they want to enjoy a service
Yeah.
and they're willing to pay for the service. And it's similar to other minority groups I see or hear of. They're very wealthy and they're willing to pay for the experience, but because of discrimination and segregation and so on, they can't because everybody frowned down on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember in St. Lucia, I think you had to go to a conference.
Right, yeah.
I think it was the LBGQ something, the whole alphabet.
Yeah.
I can't remember,
Yeah.
I don't mean no disrespect, but I can't remember all the
Yeah.
acronyms.
Mm.
Say it. And they willing to spend their money and enjoy themselves and be in a safe environment as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes we see minority groups and we think that they don't have the ability to do it because we measure them with our own experience, with our own morals and values. And we
Exactly.
don't give them a fair chance. And the topic
You know,
is
our national anthem says that in every creed and race and every equal way. We in Trinidad sometimes we only sing it, but we don't practice it. About respecting other person's belief, respecting what other person think, and you know, respecting others from who choose to, you know, I mean, it might be not church service and they say, look, they might tell you shake hand and they choose, and people say, but why you not doing that? I am saying everybody had a right to do. Once you bring your lower and a bigger partner, I feel we must respect each other, and that doesn't mean we could only develop friendship because we agree. Sometimes might enjoy a good friendship with people who don't disagree.
Yeah. Now, back to the topic of touch tourism, Ken. You know, if we all see it as a business, like I remember many years ago when I went to Bigo, the guy who was taking me around, he saw a KFC box by one of the forts on the floor. I mean, it was a sad comment. The man said, he's a former Trinidadian. I have to say, he live in Tobago now. He said, a Trinidadian pass here.
Yeah.
You know, and he went and picked it up and he put it into the bin.
Yeah.
Because he saw keeping the place clean was part of keeping tourism alive.
You know, that is like in Barbados, and everybody's part of tourism. You stop for direction, somebody willing to help. In the whole country, because they know the importance of tourism is for the survival, because they know other natural resource, all they have, and everybody into tourism. It's like a natural.
Yeah, it's a second nature thing. It's just normal. It's nothing to learn, you know, just being courteous and nice. And it's the same thing I try and get out of the touch tourism, Ken. If when we design in our community park, we make sure the trees have QR codes in it, or we make sure
it
the
has ramp for people wheelchair,
or
blind people take the cane and
food.
trail. You know, you could have a certain surface that the cane could touch different from another surface.
Tactile.
Yeah.
You're looking at even the play facilities, you know, you cater for the child who may have a disability in that.
Right.
You know, you make sure you put some padded area under these swings or something like before. So simple
now
things.
Look at simple thing people houses. You have a lot of turn knobs, right?
Yeah.
And people don't take into consideration you have a child living in your house, and if there's an emergency, that child can't leave the room. Where if you had a lever handle, the child probably could have jumped and hang on the handle and door pop open.
Yeah.
So that's what we talk about, making things accessible for everyone. You know, making sure that if the park after person can bump their head into it and so on. You look at health and safety, nothing to slip, nothing to fall. And I'm sure everybody will be happy to see a park where people with different disabilities playing, people with different abilities playing, and the disability is not part of the conversation.
Can you talk about door handles? I remember my grandparents' house in Asikoro. Their door handle was we just talk about there, you know, and the key
Lever?
they had was a long key.
With that, like a L light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the symbol for the key itself now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the key had a number on it. So the number determined the lock. And we got rid of that and started to bring these wrong hole
Right.
locks in them for whatever reason. And now we're seeing the importance of the old time locks
Yeah.
system.
Because anybody could open the objective here. Actually, anybody could open that door. If this once the child have the ability to grip, don't let that
Yeah.
child look better.
So what we're saying is when you creating your own design in your own space, keep in mind accessibility for person with disabilities. Keep in mind that when other visitors come from other parts of the world, if we really want to use Trinidad and Tobago for a form of tourism, touch tourism is an avenue, is a, you know, now thinking when
It's a good business.
Sports tourism.
Yeah, but no, all of you talking about touch tourism, it means sports tourism. And sport in itself is a big tourism.
Yeah.
Look, Larry, look, I was talking to a guy last night and he was saying, you know, for the what do you call it, the Commonwealth Games, instead of having the Paralympic game after the Commonwealth game, they run it together and they say it was an amazing success. And I showing people, instead of segregating the games and having one like how the Olympics is and have it, if they could bring the Paralympic together with the Olympic Games same time, it could be amazing. I saw they try a little experiment when they run the CPL this year that the women playing cricket too. And I'm saying when you're including, you impact more. And I see it, I mean, just as a side conversation, I see it in the conversation like Marshall and music, how we sing with so many different artists trying to get Trinidad music out there. And he has made such an amazing contribution by collaborating and not afraid that people could take what we have. The world, everything in the world is for us to share. Nobody can take for nothing. Nobody is there to share.
You can't
share
take,
and modify and add value to it, you know.
but people have to be mature enough to understand that again.
Yeah, people, everybody said they go take away pan and they go take away. This is not about taking away nothing. This is about adding. And you know, if you put in your little 2 cents, I throw in my 2 cents and come up with something better. It doesn't matter where you're from, because the world getting so smaller, just some people, I mean, to leave one end of the world to it might take about an hour in time to come.
Yeah.
Later later, some people have lunch in India and go and have a lunch in England too, you know. The same day, you know, the speed of flight now. You understand? Because time zone, then you can have 2 lunch in one day.
Yeah,
I'm telling people, let us stop being afraid. And for all carnival, we want everybody to come. Why we can have persons with touch tourism coming up and join carnival like everybody else. You know, just enjoying the music and the people and the vibration, the vibes, and how they call it. This whole country could be such a beautiful country when we move away from segregation. I mean, we saw it with Rosa Parks. I mean, she probably wasn't blind or disabled, but she disagreed with segregation on the bus. And she said the bus is for everybody to ride, black and white.
Yeah.
And we say the same thing in Blind Africa as we talking. The bus, when they bring bus in Trinidad, it must be for everybody. We don't ride no transport is only for the blind. No. We must be with everybody, talking and socializing. After a while, your blindness is irrelevant, because if we intend to live long, everybody gonna have some form of disability. And I am certain people have the parents. And if your parents go blind, and you will still want to carry them out, and you will still want to carry them on the beach, or carry them to do things, or carry them to travel, leave Trinidad, I don't think you'll leave them home because they got blind. So they too must learn to enjoy things, but they enjoy it from a different point of view.
But we need people to understand that level of thinking, Kenneth. People, and by you talking and I talking, and all of us talking, we hope that they will capture something from that.
I saw Sadhguru did it, you know, just with the soil, when people take the soil for granted. And he started a movement. And you check how many world leaders endorsing his statement. Nobody asks if he's a Hindu or Muslim or Christian. That is irrelevant. He got his purpose. He identified a problem, and he come up with a plan to solve it. And he said the hardest thing is not planting trees, you know, was planting trees with your head. convincing them mentally, this is important. And if you don't do it, it can impact on all of us survivors. And similarly, what we're doing here, trying to convince people mind is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Because people believe someone who is blind is to be kept at home and give them food in a room or in the house or whatever, wash your clothes. A lot of people I don't believe that is what taking care of the blind is. But they believe, they understand that the tourism, you know. I mean, we went on the beach, remember, I think Shagara, and we bumped somebody with a jet ski. And we get right on there, you remember?
Yeah.
And we were able to convince the person that we could ride jet ski too, and the person gave us a ride at no cost. You know, and it's just the willingness to say, let me try. Both the blind person and the person who willing to, that person was just willing.
But beside the person just willing, we need people to understand, and this is why I was making the point about changing in their minds, what Sadhguru did. People need to change their thinking about persons with disabilities.
Yes.
Early o'clock. Stops. And we as persons with disabilities also need to help change that perception of ourselves.
We got to change our own thinking too.
Yeah.
Like, when I telling anybody, I used to think the same way, but when the internet came and I was exposed to blind persons all over the world, I use the opportunity to rewire my brain, and the human brain could be rewired. But you have to make it work. There's something called neuroplasticity. That is rewiring the brain. You could do it. The brain has that capacity. One of the most amazing organs in the human body.
But the point is, we as a community, whether blind, hearing impaired, physically challenged, whatever it may be, we need to stop putting limitations to ourselves. And we need to understand that we can do anything we put our mind to do. And at the end of the day, as long as we are willing to do it, then we can change people outside of us. But we have to start it with ourselves.
And that tourism, I mean, we talked about medical tourism earlier. Dr. Jacob Bulletin was the first doctor he born blind and became a doctor. But he had no other mentor to say, look, somebody did it. He just wanted to be a doctor, and he got it done. And it was medical tourism. Persons who are blind, you just go and be where you want to become. And he did that in the earth, you know. He died around 1937. Around. You look at the period when we didn't even have the technology that we have now.
Yeah.
And he was able to achieve it because he uses tactile when they do doing different organs and so on. You know, his family or parents helped him to make it through mud or clay or whatever they use that, or plasters, I don't know. But the shape thing for him to touch it then. And he was a lung and heart specialist. They say the man could have feel your heart, he put 15 handkerchiefs, and the rest of he could still feel your heart beating on it. He's so good enough. You understand?
But I mean, again, it's about self-determination and willingness to do something for yourself. It's not about you blaming somebody else and blaming. It's about you taking responsibility for yourself and promoting yourself. And if you do that, then persons around you will want to support you and help you. But when you're not doing it and you're looking to blame everybody, nobody wants to help. So that's why I'm saying it comes back to our personal responsibility to help promote this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. While we want the public out there to understand and to help us promote tourism, Ken, we need to do our part from our end too.
Yeah. We had a change. We have to rewind our own brain. I mean, we went Costa different places. I don't think we ever had a bad experience. Or if we did have one, we never saw it as a bad experience. Yes, my point.
Somebody might say that we looked at things.
Yes.
I remember I told you, I think it was Michael Treschel who said, is our attitude to the situation. I heard him say it some time ago. As long as we change our attitude to the problem we have, it's going to be different, you know.
But look, he become a priest, and that alone, someone who's blind, all other people come to Trinidad for so many different reasons. So probably somebody might want to come and get married in Trinidad, and want someone who's blind to read them the vows. There's so much benefits from it then by having persons who are blind advancing, you know, and doing different things. And he didn't say there was never a priest who was blind in Trinidad and Tobago. He
No.
just wanted to be a priest, and he went out there and get it done. And the Catholic Church, I mean, it's a very old church, so they have real experience. Because I'm certain a lot of the priests probably got blind while they were a priest. So the church is very, very aware of persons who are blind. You know, and they accommodated him, and he was successful.
I see how Chris Rackbeer joined. Good night.
Chris Rackbeer?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I hear Rackbeer now, I think about you.
Yeah, that's not family. It could be, yeah, so. And let me take this zoo, for example, as touch tourism. You know, you had a story about the giraffe and the child who's blind, but you probably you might be able to explain a little more. But we'll come to that part. But say you're visiting a cage with a lion. Why we can't have one miniature lion so the child could hold it in their hand, and then you have a real size lion that they could touch and get the concept, and they could press something, a button or something that can make the noise of a lion, or get a QR code to read something about the lion. You would have given that child so much benefit from that by touching and getting the concept what a lion feels like, you know.
Okay.
And the same thing with the giraffe. You remember the story of the giraffe?
Yeah,
you know?
so yeah, the giraffe, but I wanted to say something for the giraffe story. You remember recently we went to look at the Central Bank Museum to give
Yeah.
some feedback, and they
On the
had
coin, yeah.
something similar to what you just said there,
Yeah.
where you could have touched something and hear the different animals, how they make song, and
In the coin, Lara, they made the coin. You know, sometimes you want to make things small for somebody to feel.
yeah,
They made the coin big, so you could feel the rim of the coin. You could feel, you know, a little print, and then erase print.
right.
You could feel the print, and you have an idea now what is written on the coin, because sometimes it could be so small that it's difficult to get the concept, or it's too big, you can't get it. So you
Yeah.
have to get the right fit. You have to get a sweet spot.
And this goes back to, we're talking about the tourism, touch tourism, but going back to the concept of observation, sighted person seeing something versus a person who cannot see something. And the story of the giraffe was, I can't remember the gentleman's name, I think it's Adam. He shared
yeah,
his
from Canada.
story
Yeah.
in our ICVI workshop recently. And he was saying where he worked, they took the children to the zoo, and this little child was, always excited and talking, and they had the opportunity to feed the giraffe. So when the child was going to give the giraffe the food, the way the child face was expression in face was strange, and child stretched out and the expression was as though they were frightened and things. So when they left and it was going back, he asked the child, what were you nervous? Were you afraid of the giraffe? Why were you looking like that? You say, I was afraid that I wasn't tall enough for the giraffe to reach my food. And the point was, the child, every time the child saw a miniature giraffe, or a toy giraffe, or saw a concept of a giraffe, he was told of the long neck
His
of
head
the
was
giraffe.
always up.
Was always up.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that the giraffe
could
could
bend,
bend their neck from the
Right.
shoulders.
Mhm.
So the concept of the child and the giraffe was that the child always believed the giraffe head is high up and going to eat high
Yeah.
up, and
Yeah.
cannot bend his head to come down.
Mhm.
And that might be
A
sound
small
funny
thing.
to people,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's real. I have seen, Kenneth, and Anita, I was telling you about it. I saw visually blind people enter a vehicle with their head first.
Yeah.
They're actually climbing into the vehicle.
Mhm.
And I wonder why, and I ask, and they never think about it really, but generally if somebody's entering a vehicle, they open the door and they put their foot in and then go in the vehicle and put in the other foot.
Right.
They put in one foot and then put in the other.
Sit and pull in the other foot, yeah.
The other foot.
Yeah.
But some persons who blind, they enter like they're climbing in the vehicle and then turning around inside the vehicle.
Right.
So it looks socially awkward.
Right, yeah.
Right? But the first
Not
thing
that
you
it's
say, well,
wrong,
something
eh?
wrong with that person, that's blind alone. But you remember, he has never seen, or she has never seen,
Right.
to see what is socially acceptable.
Well,
Proper
easier way,
to
because
enter.
Yeah, because this way might be easier. There's so many safety. I mean, you and I are accustomed by going in your hand and touch your foot and the other hand and reach for the door. So
Yeah.
it's a kind of swift mode. Because if you go in your hands first, the door will remain open longer, putting the door at risk, putting so much at risk.
Yeah, when you go into your head first, the dog hit you from behind.
Right. You understand? But if remember when I mean you and I mean I can see before you could still see but you can see more at one time. You put your foot in and so many things happening at the same time.
So I don't
You're
even
touching the hood, you're pulling in the door, you're pulling in your foot, everything at the same time.
So the point we're bringing is sometimes we sometimes we see people doing things who blind and it's because they have never seen this probably socially acceptable way, or they have never seen an animal, as the case may be, as you just make mention of a lion. You might hear,
Yeah.
and it brings back to the story of the child in Santa Cruz School for Blind talking about his Diwali coming out, talking about the Diya,
Yeah.
and giving a whole narrative about what Diwali is to them and what they do, and because she's a Hindu and all what they do and everything. And when we pass the Diya around to the class and we ask her, what is this? She turned this all different directions. She feel inside. She says, "Is a pot? Is it a bowl?" She guess. I mean, we was in awe because we like, nah. You just talk about 15 minutes telling me about everything you all do from start to finish, and you don't know what is that. She said, "No, I don't know what it is." And then we told her it was a deer. Her reaction, "Oh, cool. This is how it looks."
You see,
So
but she was so excited to talk about it, but no one at home.
took the time to show her what it
Yeah.
feels like. And there's many instances of that happening right here in our country. We have relatives and families that talk about everything around the house. But for instance, if you tell them a hacksaw.
Or imagine we say Hindu in Diwali time. Yes, sometimes might know what is it. They didn't take them out to hold the bamboo to put it down. You know, put them to sit down there.
Yeah.
You understand? They won't tell them, you know, like when you show them feel the bamboo out is with the flag on it before they put it down, you know, so they can get the con. I'm not sure if start from the home.
Kenneth, I'm certain there's a lot of persons who blind don't know how a stove feel like.
Exactly. Because everything is given to them and taken away from them.
And they're not allowed. No, it is a like a secret rule. Blind and visually impaired people should not light a stove to go burn down the house.
Right.
That is how absurd it is. So they don't
But
even
I was
know
concerned
how
with
the stove
apartment
look.
buildings at one time. People were concerned about blind people living in the same apartment.
Yeah.
And I am almost certain majority of fire that take place in this country, I am almost close to 100% it was not a blind person.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, people might say, I'm going to use a Phillips head screwdriver, and a blind person would never know what you mean by that.
Yeah.
What is a Phillips head screwdriver? What is a flathead screwdriver? Or a flat blade?
But like that again, because you gotta see your parents, but there are hardly parents who have a child who's blind, introduce them to them and explain to them what it is. I mean, Neil, you could still see a little bit at one time, but Neil is an excellent example for someone who, you know, his dad exposed them to. He didn't hide them, you know. If they're mixing concrete, he did it, you know. If he missing the bucket when he showing anybody, he show him a different way to get it done. Because he observed them and he find a solution.
Yeah.
And in Trinidad, we don't observe. We observe to embarrass people and laugh at them. We don't observe to see your weakness to help you.
And it's sad. And this is what touch tourism is about. It's about the same religion we're talking about Christmas time. How many people know what a crash feels like? How many persons who blind know what is that? There's something that I telling you, I have never seen or touched, but I hear the concept, and when I hear them explain it, I say, okay, it makes some sense, you know. I could put a picture to my head.
Like I show, say lights that blink. People to explain to some people, you know, like if the light heat up over a period of time, you get a little warmish, right? To show them that look, this is the cold bulb when the light out and the warm one when the bulb on. You understand? So that they could relate hot and cold to light on and light off then.
No, but
You know?
You're using lights for Christmas, something, right? Christmas lights. How many people know? I don't know if you are aware. The Christmas lights you knew as a child is not the same Christmas lights now, you know.
Nah. My brother was over that, even the colors, everything. He say, boss, we could have seen 20 to 2 years ago, now nothing that out the window. How
Yeah.
lights run and blink and
No, it have a little device, and the bulb is just a bulb alone. And now it have a little device like a little unit. You press a knob and it switched to the different run of blinks you want. If you wanted
what side
running,
you
you
want?
wanted blinking fast, you make it slow.
And
You
then it
know?
had the rope lights too. The whole light, the whole rope is a light.
Yeah, the whole concept has changed, but
Yeah.
we hear people saying, "Oh, we're hanging Christmas lights for Christmas." Yeah, what's that Christmas light?
Yeah.
You know what I feel like? No. You know what it does? You know what color it is? You know how it works? No, but you have Christmas lights. You know, it's the same thing. You tell somebody a car tire. I mean, they learn in school tires are wrong, but have they ever felt a car tire? Do they know what it looks like? Do they have the concept in their head?
You ever shoot them with a wheel spanner, how to take out and not, I don't know, get them to do something and watch them do it. And while they're doing it, identify the little, show them little tips. Say, no, well, this is a better way to do. And by using the spanner, you show them how levers work, how you could use levers to lift everything.
So
The
there's
same
a
like a
lot of,
seesaw, you know?
yeah, there's a lot of concepts that we take for granted, and all that is part of the touch tourism argument. It's all that is part of the learning process and the concepts. I took someone who was visually impaired. Oh, some years ago we took some people who were visually impaired to Tobago, and when we took them to the cannons, we was able to show them. I can't remember which ones. I think it's the English and the French. But one had a crown on it, which was the English cannon, and the other one had another symbol that was the French.
Because the French gave it their king and queen long time.
Yeah.
They beheaded them and all kind of years ago, you know?
Yeah. So based on that, when you go to the site, although the historical site had write-ups and had billboards, it wasn't accessible. I went there recently and I put on a QR code scanner and I scanned it around my camera and I picked up nothing.
Yeah.
You know, they have a rich history of information, but they don't cater for everybody. The accessibility
QR code could be built in, you know, that it get wet and so on, and it doesn't impact because that could be linked to international database. We could have an international trend database that could go there, and you could be it will help you to give you so much information without having to write anything.
So can we approach 8 o'clock? Any closing comments?
Well, closing remark, I am saying let us enjoy the world not only by sight, which today we touch on touch tourism, but as someone who's blind, when you travel and you go anyway, you also enjoy the culture by the food, you enjoy the culture by the music, you enjoy the culture by just chatting with the people, you know. So there are so many other ways on site to enjoy, you know, good tourism.
Yeah, it's about the experience.
Yeah.
You know, many years ago when we did our program with events, man, they say all you leave with is memories, you know. When you go to a good event, you go to a good place, you go to a good scenario, all you could leave with is a good memory. So the experience is what helps you create that good memory. It can be.
And that what makes Steve Jobs successful.
Yeah.
He was more interested in people experiencing his product than buying his product.
All right.
And when they enjoy the experience, they'll continue to buy it.
Until next weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks again, guys. Thank you for viewing and all the best. Keep safe.